Hi guys, I'm so new to this and please don't hate on the quality. This is my iPhone. Hopefully these will get better. This is my first YouTube channel and episode video. And I've always made podcasts and I just recently started posting more on my Instagram story and my Facebook story, but I've always been kind of shy around the camera, I guess. I never really video myself. It's hard for me to even listen to my voice on my podcasts. So it's super new to me, but I'm just biting the bullet and putting myself out there to help more and more women every day. And that's really my goal for this, is to reach out and reach as many women as I can with my story and my past, so that hopefully some of you can relate to it and I can help you out. So let's just dive in. My fitness journey. So this all started back when I was 14, which was 5 years ago. I've always been a super athletic person. I just love sports. I love physical activity of any kind, whether that be throwing the frisbee or shooting the basketball or swimming or whatever. And I tried pretty much every sport as a kid. Growing up, and my absolute favorite was track. I did track all the way through middle school to high school. I was a sprinter. I never really did long distance at all. I always thought about it, but I was definitely a sprinter at heart. And all throughout athletics in school, I was just so into it. I just loved improving. I loved lifting heavy. I loved running faster. I loved improvement, and I've always been that way. And my main focus, as I was younger, was improving my fitness and getting better at my sport and that sort of thing. And when I was 14, I got on to the varsity relay team, and that was big for me. I was terrified because I was the only underclassman with 3 other seniors, and that was our relay team. And it was terrifying. And well, that definitely helped me want to improve even more. So I always worked hard in athletics because my coaches would always tell me, the stronger you are in the weight room, the faster you'll be. And I really listened to that. And by my sophomore year of high school, I was number 5 on the weight, I guess you could say leaderboard for the weight room, of it's all based on your weight and how heavy you can lift and how fast you can run and your mile time and that sort of thing. And I was number 5. So I was 15 and I was number 5 out of the whole girls athletics in high school. And I loved life. I was so happy, and I loved being on a team, and I loved athletics, and I was definitely a try-hard in athletics. And I wasn't really ashamed of that though. It was something I looked forward to every day. Cause I wasn't necessarily good at ball sports and that sort of thing. So I went over to lifting and running as my sport. So yeah. And yeah, that's really where it started. I was just seen as this athletic, muscular girl at the age of 15. And that was that. I knew I was athletic. I knew I was strong. I knew I was fast. And I didn't think anything of it. I also ate pretty much anything I wanted. Like, I ate like a kid, you know, just like 3 bowls of cereal after school and stuff like that. Lunchables for lunch. I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew nothing actually like behind the science of fitness and nutrition at all. Like, I knew nothing. I was just living life, you know, as a kid, and I really listened to that. And by my sophomore year of high school, I was number 5 on the like weight, I guess you could say like leaderboard for the weight room of like it's all based on like your weight and how heavy you can lift and how fast you can run and your mile time and that sort of thing. And I was number 5. So I was 15 and I was number 5 out of the whole girls athletics in high school. And I loved life. Like, I was so happy and I loved being on a team and I loved athletics, and I was definitely a try-hard in athletics. And I wasn't really like ashamed of that though. Like, it was something I looked forward to every day. Cause I wasn't necessarily good at like ball sports and that sort of thing. So I went over to like lifting and running as my sport. So yeah. And yeah, that's really where it started. I was just seen as this athletic, muscular girl at the age of 15. And that was that. I knew I was athletic. I knew I was strong. I knew I was fast. And I didn't think anything of it. I also ate pretty much anything I wanted. Like, I ate like a kid, you know, just like 3 bowls of cereal after school and stuff like that. Lunchables for lunch. I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew nothing actually like behind the science of fitness and nutrition at all. Like, I knew nothing. I was just living life, you know, as a kid. And yeah, that's really where it started. And I feel like all teenage girls, I went through a period of just being obsessed with what I looked like. Like, I wore a ton of makeup. I always wore a dress to school, even though I was like freaking, I don't know. But I even had a boyfriend for 3 years in high school. And I cared so much about what I looked like because I thought that was the only way that I would get friends, and that was the only way that anybody would like me in general. And so I just tried really hard, especially my freshman year of high school. That was like the biggest. I really just cared about my face and like dressing nice. But then into my sophomore year, I started comparing my body, and I started really focusing on my body and how it looked. And I would always get compliments on my body too. And I remember I posted this photo. I'll put it here if I can. I posted this photo, and it was the first bathing suit photo I had ever taken and like posted on Instagram. And I got so many comments, and I got so many like people talking to me about it at school, and like, oh my gosh, like your body is perfect and everything. And I was super happy about those comments and everything. But for some reason, it triggered this response for me to try to get better and try to look better. And so I just had that mindset, and Google came around, and I started just looking up basically how to look skinnier, how to look more toned, how to look better, all that sort of stuff. I just started looking all those things up. And tons of false information came my way. And I believed all of it. Basically read that carbs are bad, number one, that all sugar, all forms of carbs are bad, basically. And to just completely cut them out of your diet if you want to look good, want to be skinny and fit. So that's where we started. I had that mindset. And also, you just need to eat less. So took that to heart. And it just started with that. I started slowly cutting out all my carbs, and basically by the summertime, I completely cut out my carbs. Like I wouldn't even eat fruit. I wouldn't even eat like high carb or high glycemic veggies. So it was like literally the lowest glycemic foods possible. So like celery and cucumbers and broccoli, like that was like all I would eat carb wise. So as you can see, this is a problem right here. I wasn't fueling myself. And not only that, I also found research that you need to exercise more to compensate and burn. You need to burn more than you eat, obviously, but I did it to the extreme of being in like a freaking 1,000-something calorie deficit, because I was not only in athletics, but by the time the summer came around, I wasn't in athletics, and I freaked out. I was like, I'm not gonna burn as many calories. Like I need to compensate for that. And I looked up like what exercises burn the most calories and stuff like that, and just running and cardio were the only things that really stood out. I was like, oh, well, I love running. I'll just do that. So I started with 2.5 miles a day, right? 2.5 miles a day, and just slowly increased my miles per day. So I got up to 5 miles a day and literally ran 5 miles every day. On top of that, in the morning, I would wake up and work out for 2 hours sometimes, and it was like pure HIIT workout. Like I would do like just pure aerobic cardio, no rest exercises. And I even like used weights sometimes, but I would do like very high reps and like no rest. And I really became obsessed with this routine. Like I was like, I need to work out at least, an hour and a half minimum, and then I have to run my 5 miles. And on top of that, I can't eat any carbs at all. So that's where it was. And I also became obsessed with counting my calories. And I typed in, how to lose 1 pound per week, I believe. Or 2 pounds. It was like 2 pounds per week on MyFitnessPal, and it gives you like the little calculator. Anyways, it had me at 1,200 calories. So that right there is just, anyways. So I was eating 1,200 calories to start off with no carbs to fuel me. And on top of that, I started drinking more and more coffee throughout the summer. I was just like downing coffee all the time. And I started my first job at Panera Bread. So this just made everything worse. My work was kind of like an excuse to not eat because I was just there all day and I didn't have time. And so I literally just used that to not eat, and it would like distract me from not eating, even though it was at a food restaurant. So at the end of the night, they give out these, they give out all the pastries that are left over, and we can take them home, or they just throw them out. And so I would always take them home for my family because they would ask me to do it. And the first time I did, this was the first episode of bulimia for me. So I filled up a box for my family, and then I filled up another box, and I ate the whole box of pastries. And it was a box probably about this big. It was a big box of pastries, and I downed the entire thing. I freaked out. I haven't eaten carbs. I hadn't eaten carbs in like so long, and I just downed all this sugar and processed carbs, all that. So I ran to the bathroom at my work and threw it all up. And I didn't stop until the shift was over and like we all left. And then I came home and went straight to the bathroom and pretended like I was taking a shower and threw up for like 2 more hours. I'm sorry if this is triggering, like just talking about it. Yeah, it was a very bad thing for me to start right there. And I already started anorexia for a while, although I would call it more bulimia than anything, because it was more like I would eat really little amount and then exercise it all off. And then this point, when I was at Panera and I did this for the first time, I was like, here's another solution. And continued throughout this summer. And anything I would eat, if I thought it was too much, or I thought it was just too many carbs, even though it was all vegetables, I would throw it up. And I caught myself in probably about, I can't even count how many binges on random, like literally like granola or fruit or some sort of carb. I would binge on it and then throw it up. And that was really the point where I kind of started getting scared, because I like knew something was wrong. And I was like, I don't think this is normal, but I don't know who to tell anybody about it. Like, I didn't tell anyone. I was obsessed with the scale. So I like literally weighed myself five times throughout the day. And if I thought the scale, because obviously your weight is going to fluctuate throughout the day, right? Like, you're eating and you're drinking, even though I really wasn't. And my body was holding on to anything it could at that point, because I just like didn't feed it anything. Worse from there. And my weight just kept going down and down and down after I did that. And I was so obsessed with it. Every time the number went down, I was like, yes, like I can keep going. And my parents were so scared. Like, they were like, Maya, you're losing way too much weight. Like, you're looking way too skinny. And at this point I was probably 105 pounds and my starting weight was 130. So this was in the summer, like literally it was probably a 3-month period, and I'd already gotten down from 130 to 105. And I was just obsessed with it. I got so obsessed with it, and by the time school came around, I went back to school, and basically all my coaches, my track coaches and athletic coaches and everyone at school were just like, what happened to you? Like, what happened? Like, they were just shook. And a lot of people made like kind of a joke out of it. And they're like, Maya, like, you're so skinny. How did you lose so much weight? And you need to eat something and stuff like that. And I took that as like a compliment. I was like, oh, thanks. Like, in my mind, I was just, like, and it was like a trigger for me to keep going. Until a few weeks into that school year, this was my junior year of high school, I was called to the office at school, and I went to the counselor's office, and she was like, Maya, there have been so many, like, I've been getting so many requests and like people telling me that like I need to talk to you because they think something's wrong and you're way too skinny and this is just getting way out of hand. From teachers to coaches to my classmates to my old friends that I completely lost, by the way. Over that whole summer, I didn't see anybody but my boyfriend and my parents. Like, I literally isolated myself and completely cut myself off just to focus on this goal of being skinny. So it continued. I kept getting comments every day about how skinny I was and all of that. And like at lunch, I wouldn't eat. Like, I would bring like veggies and chicken or something like that. Yeah. And it just got worse from there, especially after I got called to the counselor. I was like actually kind of scared, although I didn't admit it. Like, I didn't admit anything was wrong. I was just still in my mind, and like I would say I just lost weight and I'm just eating healthy now. Like, I had no clue that something was wrong. I was too scared to look into eating disorders at this time. Like, I had known kind of about them, although I didn't know anything about bulimia. Like, I didn't know that making yourself throw up was an eating disorder. And that just right there shows you how little knowledge I had. And anyways, I went on with my school days and kept doing the same thing. I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes just to work out for 2 hours. It was like I'd wake up from 4 to 5 a.m. every morning to work out before school for at least 2 hours and then run after school. And on top of that, I was in athletics for the first semester of my junior year. So, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna run track and everything, thinking like, how are you gonna run track? I was so skinny and I had nothing left and I didn't even know it. I couldn't even see it. I thought there was still fat to lose and I was still like I don't know. I don't even know, but it's so hard to explain when I can't even understand it myself. So months went by and I became more and more depressed. Like, I was so depressed. I had no friends. I was so alone. And all I wanted to do was be skinny. All I wanted to do. And that was the only thing on my mind. It really just came down to me being honest. I came out to my parents and I was like, hey, I know that y'all know something's wrong with me, and I know something's wrong with me, and I don't know what to do. I'm scared and I'm so alone. And it really just took that for me to get help. And yeah, it was a really lonely time. That's the biggest thing I remember, was being so alone. I felt like nobody understood me. I didn't even understand what was going through, like what I was going through at all. And it's tough. Like, it is so tough doing anything alone. And I tried for another 6 months or year, pretty much, just trying to get better on my own, but it only led down tons of relapses, led to a bunch of relapses every single time. And my family and everybody was so supportive of me. And then I had a trip to Italy with my boyfriend the summer after my junior year. And I thought I was gonna get fat. I thought I couldn't work out. I couldn't, eat healthy. And it was a trip of a freaking lifetime. Like, Italy, it's amazing. And it's a once in a lifetime sort of thing. And I completely just was terrified. And I was like so scared. I almost didn't even want to go. And it was a 2-week trip. And I remember just starving myself like the entire trip. And I had gotten down to, and I hadn't weighed myself. This is another thing, is that summer, I stopped weighing myself to recover, even though, and I hadn't weighed myself in like 3 months. And I remember when I got back from Italy, I was so scared, and I weighed myself, and I got down to 90 pounds. So I had lost 40 total pounds from my starting weight. And that was the point where I was like actually really scared. Like I was like, I need to do something. This is not, like this isn't okay anymore. Like I'm at such a low weight. So I started reaching out to more of my family and just talking to my mom and really wanting help. And we were looking into dietitians and that sort of thing. And one day I was scrolling through Instagram, and I have followed I still do, but I followed so many fitness accounts and recipe accounts and healthy eating, all sorts of things. And this one amazing woman who I had followed for a while, I watched her eating disorder recovery during my disorder. And I saw her post about enrollment for one-on-one coaching. And I just had this like gut feeling. I just knew for some reason, and I'd never reached out to anybody for help, like actual help, because they would understand and get me through it. And so I applied, and she DM'd me, and I basically gave her like a short summary of my story. She saved me. Like she's the reason I'm probably here today. Like I was too scared to go into any sort of treatment. I couldn't do it on my own, obviously. And I literally just needed somebody to motivate me and somebody to tell me like, it's okay, I've been there before, and somebody who understands me on that level. And she set up a call with me. First off, she told me her story, like her eating disorder story, and it aligned perfectly with mine. It was almost like insane, like literally sent from the universe, insane. And she got down to a very, very low weight. It was like 80 something pounds. And yeah, it was crazy because I had never met anybody who had gone through a similar situation as me. I thought nobody understood. I thought I was the only one. I didn't know what to do. And it like my heart melted, and I told her my story, and like we both started crying together, and I enrolled in her coaching, and it just went uphill from there. I absolutely changed my mindset, not only gained weight, but I gained confidence and overall just better quality of life. I knew that what I was doing was wrong, and she taught me all the basics of nutrition and fitness and truly led me to a healthy lifestyle. I absolutely give her credit for shaping me from that to who I am today, because I couldn't have done it without her. And I know it's up to me to take action, but having her to guide me and show me the steps I need to take really is what got me here. And I'm so thankful for her every single day. And not only that, but she is who inspired me to be a health coach and do the same thing for other women. Show them the same love she showed me, and the same support and the same motivation. And truly, like, I want to radiate that feeling. Like, I want to have that feeling be present in every single client that comes my way. And that just excites me. Helping people excites me so much. And anyways, back to it. I started strength training again. I stopped cardio, and I built a crap ton of muscle and I ate a crap ton of food. And not only that, I forgot to mention, I was kicked off of not only the track team my junior year, but athletics in general. So I was like extremely depressed to the point where I questioned my life. I didn't even know I had no quality of life whatsoever. Severely depressed. I so negative towards everybody around me. I was a whole nother person. And I told her, I was like, my goal is to be able to run track again and be in athletics. And she helped me do that. And I ran track my senior year, sorry. I ran track my senior year. I was in athletics. I was so strong. I freaking went from being able to squat 25 pounds probably to 250 pounds. And I'm just so blessed that I was able to have her as a coach. And I just want to do the same for everybody else who wants my help and wants my motivation and my support. And that's really the bulk of my story, is having a health coach. That's what got me to where I am today. That's what changed my mindset. That's what got me to be so positive. I looked up to her and I looked up to everything she went through, and I believed I could because she could, and she did it. And she was with me through the whole journey. I had some ups and downs because I had negative body days like usual. I had, days where I just wasn't feeling my best. And not only that, but if you restrict yourself for a very long period of time, your body wants to make up for it. And I went through a period of extreme hunger to where I started binging. I was eating a lot, and I was eating more than my maintenance, and I was still gaining weight, and I was still so hungry, and I would binge and binge and binge. And I went through an all-in approach, kind of like Stephanie Buttermore, and basically was just intuitive and ate more than, I didn't count calories or anything like that in this time period. And so I gained weight a little faster than I liked, but she held me accountable in that, and she really just let me be okay with where I was. And that was the biggest thing, was being okay with the present and shifting my mindset to where I was just so focused on getting that end goal, to focus on where I am now and what I've achieved and the positives of now rather than the negatives. I did have to recover from binging. And of course, during my eating disorder, I binged literally at least once a week during my eating disorder when I was 90 pounds. And it was because of restriction. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum, basically, between starving myself to the point where I was super duper skinny, to my body finally being oh my gosh, I need food or I'm gonna die, and binging because of the restriction. And it's scary. Binging is scary too. Literally, it's an out-of-body experience. And it has a lot of different bad effects as well. Eating disorders in general, there is a very serious topic, and I recommend anybody who has an eating disorder to please get help. Get help. You cannot do it alone. And I know this sounds very discouraging, but I promise you, help is it's not something to be scared of. It is something to embrace, because it will change you and it will help get over the struggle, and it could shape you into a better person for overcoming these struggles. So please, I beg you to get help if you need help. reach out to your family, your friends, talk about it, and find a professional who has maybe been through a similar thing that you've been through, or has at least some knowledge of it. And that's the biggest piece of advice I could give. So I feel like we're always going to be lifelong friends. She always has a special piece in my heart because she was my best friend through that whole entire journey. And she knows me more than anyone, I feel like, other than like my boyfriend and my mom. And so it's super important to just have somebody there with you, no matter what struggle or what journey or anything. Have somebody there to support you. Now I'm here. And last May, I graduated high school, and I was fully weight restored. Last summer, I was fully weight restored, and I finally was just in a maintenance phase. And I traveled the freaking world last summer. I've just been the happiest I've ever been in the last year. I've literally changed in so many ways. I've become a better person. I've met so many amazing people, and synchronicity is a thing, okay? Once you start radiating positive vibes come towards you. And I really take that to heart because I have met so many amazing people. I met my boyfriend, who has brought out the entrepreneur in me, who has brought out my traveler self and my adventurous self, and my truly my happiest self. And I currently go to the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, and I am truly blessed to have had that opportunity, because I would have been in community college right now, probably wasting my time, because it wouldn't have led me to being a health coach in a year. So I'm super blessed with that. And I also met this amazing woman who certified me to be a personal trainer. It's been a great year. It's been an absolutely great year, and I have tons of knowledge now about health and prevention of diseases and living longer and nutrition and fitness and muscles, everything. And I'm just so blessed to have this knowledge, and so blessed to have gone through those struggles to get me to where I am today. And I'm just unbelievably grateful for my life, and unbelievably grateful every single day for every opportunity that comes my way. And I will never take an opportunity for granted. And I really hope this video inspires and motivates and hopefully gets somebody on to their path to recovering, or just getting better and getting healthier and making those changes to live a happier and more balanced lifestyle. And I promise you it's worth it to reach out to those you love and get that support you need. And yeah, that was my first YouTube video. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and stay tuned, because I'm gonna try, hopefully I'll get a camera, but I'm going to try to post every week. Once a week? ? But I hope you'll have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for watching.